here we are, we finally reached Lukla, 9,000 feet, officially the most dangerous airport in the world rated by National Geographic. We land there with 8 of our support staff members and about 1,000 kg of luggage that we're going to use on our Everest climb over the next 2 months. We start this beautiful trek to the Everest base camp, which is going to take us about 15 days before we reach what's going to be our home for the next 2 months.
The Everest Base Camp trek is one of the most beautiful, exciting high-altitude treks in the world. It's actually rated by Lonely Planet as one of the top 10 must-do treks. The trek is really difficult. It actually involves a lot of physical stamina, fitness, and more importantly, mental endurance. We walk through beautiful pine tree forests, crossing high suspension bridges over the mighty Kosi River. And as we make our way up above the tree line, into the snow line, and finally to the Khumbu Glacier, where we reach the Everest Base Camp, our home for the next 2 months.
So we reached Lobuche. The monastery is just divine and historic, one of the oldest monasteries in the Khumbu region. Every climber, whether he's climbing Everest or any other mountain in that region, makes a stop and takes the blessings of the lamas there. And we did the same. So even before one thinks of getting into the Khumbu icefall, the person has to acclimatize. Acclimatization is a simple process where one needs to get used to the temperature, the altitude, the pressure. And in order to do that, I and Samir decided to climb a peak in the Everest region, often used by most mountaineers to acclimatize better, called the Lobuche Peak. 21,000 feet gives you a very good sense of high altitude climbing within the Everest region. We established high camp and we started climbing to the summit of Lobuche by about 2 in the morning. We reached the crampon point and clipped on to the fixed ropes. Making our way up through heavy snow, we finally reached the summit of Lobuche by about 7:30 in the morning.
Welcome to Lobuche High Camp.
It was a tough, grueling 6 hours. The cold was biting and the ice was hard. But when we reached the top, it was brilliant. It gave us excellent views of Everest. It was a clear day and we got the feeling that we were already halfway up there. We couldn't really wait to go back and enter the Khumbu icefall and start making our way up to the summit of Everest.
So here we are in 2015, running our very own Everest expedition. Imagine, after 4 years of running Adventure Pulse as a company, we visited Everest Base Camp 32 times between Sauraj and I, and never actually stayed at Everest Base Camp. This time, we were going to be staying there for 2 whole months. Everybody imagines Everest Base Camp to be this lovely field where you just pitch your tent. On the contrary, it's a broken mass of rocks and ice, which actually have to be physically leveled in order to be able to establish and pitch your tents on this glacier. The fact is that you have to make a home over here which will sustain you for 2 months. You need to establish your kitchen tent, your dining tent, your personal tents, and the most important tent of all, your poo tent. Pitching your tents and establishing your camp still was the easy part of establishing a base over here. The really scary part was the journey ahead, the walk and climb through the Khumbu icefall.